All right, welcome to the deep dive. So, you've brought us a really interesting piece today, an excerpt from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
That's right. And we're zoning in on one specific entry, Arsenicum sulphuratum flavum. It's also known as yellow sulphuret of arsenic or orpiment. The chemical name listed is arsenic trisulfide.
Okay, and our plan, as always, is to stick strictly to the source you've provided. We're just going to unpack what this text says about this substance, its uses, pulling up the key things Boericke actually wrote down.
Exactly. No outside info, just what's on the page here. So let's look at this entry. Boericke lists some, quite specific symptoms he links to Arsenicum sulphuratum flavum.
Yeah, he starts with a really striking one, doesn't he? Something about needles.
Yes, exactly. He writes, needle pricks from within outwards, and he specifies this happens in chest.
From within outwards, that's quite a description. Very typical of these kinds of texts, focusing on that very specific subjective feeling.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just the chest. The text also mentions these same needle pricks on forehead, right side. Very precise location.
Right side of the forehead, okay.
And he adds another one. Sticking behind ear. Again, a very distinct sensation noted down.
So, really zeroing in on these feelings and where they happen, does he mention anything broader, like, say, breathing?
He does, yeah. It includes difficult respiration as one of the points associated with this substance.
Okay. And what about things like skin issues or pain?
Yep, those are in there too. The text lists skin chafed about genitals. And for pain, it specifically calls out sciatica and pain around the knee.
Huh. So quite a mix then, internal feelings, breathing, skin, nerve pain, all linked here to this one substance.
It is. And then, interestingly, the source brings up a related substance.
Oh, right. There's a relationship section. Arsenic sulfurub, the red one.
Exactly, the red sulphuret of arsenic. And Boericke lists several conditions he associates with that one. Things like influenza with intense catarrhal symptoms, great prostration, and high temperature.
Wow, okay. Intense catarrh, prostration, fever. Sounds like a really nasty bout of flu he's describing there for the red variant.
It certainly does. He also adds purulent discharges and then some skin conditions, psoriasis, acne, and interestingly, sciatica again.
Sciatica again.
Yeah.
So he links that to both the yellow and the red forms in this entry.
Seems so, based purely on this text. The red variant section just seems to have a broader list, especially with those flu-like symptoms and skin issues.
Anything else mentioned for the red one? The arsenic sulfurub?
Yes. Let's see. Chilly, even before a fire, itching in various parts, and also the condition pellagra.
Pellagra, okay. So this section sort of gives a comparison within the source itself of how Boericke viewed the red versus the yellow.
It does. It's quite fascinating how these texts bundle together sometimes very diverse conditions under, one substance or its close relatives.
It really is. And just one final detail from the text itself. He mentions the preparation, right? The dose.
Yes, right at the end under those just says third trituration.
Third trituration, which, in this context, points to a specific method of preparation and dilution they used.
Correct. It's specifying a particular preparation strength or level.
So, just to recap from this single piece of text you shared, we've got these very specific sensations like needle pricks from within outwards, sticking behind the ear. We have skin issues, chafing, pain like sciatica and around the knee.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the connection to the red variant, arsenic sulfurub, with its own list including flu symptoms, psoriasis, acne, pellagra, and again, sciatica. And finally, that specific third trituration dose, all strictly from this Boericke entry.
That's the picture the text paints, yes. We haven't added anything beyond what's written here.
Looking closely like this at Boericke's entry, it really throws into relief the particular way these old Materia Medica texts worked, how they categorized things.
It really does. It makes you think about how they observed things and that real focus on subjective experience captured with such, sometimes peculiar language.
Yeah, think about descriptions like needle pricks from within outwards. What is that kind of intense detail that you see all through these texts really tell you about the observations being made back then, about their whole approach to understanding what a substance might do?
It's definitely a window onto a different way of thinking about substances and symptoms compared to perhaps how we might approach it now.
Just something to mull over, thinking about the source. Anyway, thanks for bringing this text in for us to take a look at. Really appreciate you sharing it for this deep dive.